from the National News Studio, Sri Lanka.
A pleasant evening and a very warm welcome to the National News Broadcast. We are coming to you live from Rupavahini's News Studios. I'm Dilanjali Ananda.
Good evening, I'm Clifford Richards. First of all, we take a look at the headlines. The President presents the plan on tropical zone climatic aspirations to the COP28 conference. A tornado develops in the southwestern Bay of Bengal. Fishing and naval activities in danger in many sea areas. University students stranded in Hantana have been rescued. Constructions in the eastern terminal of the Colombo harbour are being carried out successfully. 2 giant elephants killed by electrocution. Israel speeds up attacks on the Gaza Strip.
For this and other stories in detail. A future program of action to guarantee a sustainable development for nations in tropical zones to face the challenges of the rising global temperatures was presented to the COP28 conference yesterday.
Well, the program named the Plan of Tropical Zone Political Aspirations was handed over to the summit by President Ranil Wickremesinghe.
There's a big question mark as to whether target of 2030 for the peaking of global temperature would be met. It's a 50-50 chance. We talk of what we should do. So there's one big question mark there. Then secondly, the fact that we all talk of loss and damage of countries certainly contributing trillions of dollars, the private sector coming in, and all we have to offer are a set of national plans, some excellent, some below expectation. Now let's take the reality. How do you expect to deal with this? Do you expect governments to give billions of dollars to us? In which country will the voters allow that? Why should the voters of UK, who are already hard pressed, want to give money to Niger? Or for that, the voters of Finland give money to Sri Lanka. That is not going to happen. If at all they come in, it's because of self-interest. That is the key to all democratic politics. So we have to have a program that would appeal to all and everyone would benefit. Secondly, look at from our side. We gave national strategies and we have come up with national plans, including what we have done. But then they have uneven quality. How do you present it? So what we required was a multilateral initiative. Multilateral in the sense both countries from the tropics and outside would get together. An initiative which would involve government and the private sector. If you look at the $2-3 trillion that we need annually, bulk of it has to come from the private investments. That's the only way you can unlock the funds that are needed. So we looked at the tropical belt, because tropical belt, as you know, is really the key to global warming. How do we safeguard the tropical belt? How do we strengthen the tropical belt? There are forests to be invested, there are swamps, there are mangroves. So let's invest it, make it commercial investment, make use of the energy potential, make it one big initiative where you have a plan, you turn it out. Even the initiative itself is not one single country, but it will be looked at by the different agencies, and you have a tropical belt initiative and see how much of it can be open for commercial investment. What is left over is the issue of how do you raise the funding. How much comes from outside, how much comes from within. Well, the voters of UK who would like to save, who are not interested in saving Niger, would certainly like to put money to ensure there is no the global warming is contained in UK. Similarly, those in Finland would put money in to ensure the global warming is contained in Finland. So that's the only way that you can sell it. But in between, there are a lot of commercial investments coming in. And then this whole issue of global debt crisis all can be gone into. We had to think outside the box. That was the only way to go in, and also realize that the private sector, so the private funds that will do the trick. In that sense, we put forward this proposal of the Tropical Belt Initiative. Together with that, the Indian Ocean Rim Association, of which Sri Lanka is chairman now, is working on the Indian Ocean, the blue economy, to ensure there is a sustainable, we have a sustainable Indian Ocean. The ocean's capacity to absorb carbon is much higher than land. So if you combine them together, you will have the world's largest global sink for carbon sequestration. Now let's develop that. Then look at what are the other schemes that can come. What can you have for the polar caps? So this is the concept which we've been talking with. I've discussed that obviously with President Rashid. We are having a meal and talking over it. We've talked to President Ruto, who's interested in it. I've discussed it with President Lula, who is at the moment discussing with Indonesia, and he'll be talking about the 3 river basins that could be combined. We mentioned it to President of Indonesia. I'll talk with India. So since there is interest, we talked to President Macron. Since there is interest, the first step is to establish a panel of experts to report on it. So we will be contacting some other countries to get a panel of experts, and amongst that is also Australia, which is mainly in the tropics. Let the panel of experts report, maybe sometime next year or year after. But we spoke with the UNF, said let's have everything ready for COP13 Brazil. So we'll start from now, and the results are known. We can talk with the private sector, with those who are interested. But that also means a large amount of foreign investments are coming into the African countries. Sri Lanka, this was one reason for looking at it, that when we are constructing a reconstitute economy, thought of going in for the renewable energy, but to do so by mobilizing private investments. We didn't want to go and ask for development assistance, let it go for the countries that need it. So let's see, it also means just transforming that whole area. Trillions of investments will come into the tropical belt, and that will again change the economies. So this is roughly the plan that is there. We will be establishing the panel, speaking to the countries. But backing this up is already another concept, the International Climate Change University. We want to start, which will handle the capacity building and also the central research. I've already discussed with 1 or 2 countries. We are doing a joint project between Sri Lanka and Maldives. Will be the campus for island states, small island states. Sri Lanka we have set aside about 600 acres for this campus, but we need all the technical assistance. It will be a stakeholder university. All those who are interested, we stakeholders, and they can manage it. So we are operationalizing the ICCU, and we'll get the panels here. And in time to come, we hope that we have very positive reports from the panel. I have no doubt it will, but unless we made a break from the conventional thinking, there was no possibility of ever mobilizing the funds that are needed. And I hope this will lead the way for other initiatives in other parts of the globe.
President Ranil Wickremesinghe has also unveiled a plan on a project to be jointly commenced by Sri Lanka and the Maldives on the establishment of an international university on climatic change. The university will enable to provide opportunities to control climatic changes and to build the capacities for centralized research. The President has also pointed out the need to move away from the traditional thinking to accumulate funds to minimize climatic changes. He added that the international university would extend guidelines in this connection. Former Prime Minister of Australia Malcolm Turnbull also participated in this event. The former Prime Minister, appreciating Sri Lanka's program to set up a university on climatic change, said the biggest challenge of the nation in the Indian Ocean region is to safeguard the Indian Ocean. A meeting between President Ranil Wickremesinghe and Bill Gates has also taken place on the sidelines of the COP COP28 conference. Bill Gates has given a pledge to focus attention on handing over support for the Sri Lankan leadership to overcome the globally environment challenges. He also assured his support through the E-Bill and Melinda Gates Foundation to modernize agriculture and the formation of relevant data systems. Well, the deep depression in the southwestern Bay of Bengal has been developed into a tornado named Miju.
The Department of Meteorology says it will leave for northern Tamil Nadu by moving closer to the northern shore of Sri Lanka in a northwestern direction. The atmospheric disturbance was located 330 kilometers northeast from Jaffna by last night. It is expected to reach the coastal belt of northern Tamil Nadu, India by tomorrow. Thereafter, it would travel further in the northern direction and enter the shores of India from the beach of southern Andhra Pradesh on the 5th. The Department of Meteorology informs that it remains dangerous to travel in the seas beyond the shores from Mannar to Pothville via Kankasanture, Trincomalee and Batticaloa. By taking into consideration of the prevailing situation, fishermen in the northern province have refrained from engaging in their provisional activities with effect from today. Multi-day fishing trawlers and boats were seen parked in Mannar and Mullaitivu. The Department of Meteorology predicts that the skies would continue to remain cloudy in the northern, north central and eastern provinces. Intermittent or thunder showers may occur in these provinces as well as in the Trincomalee and Batticaloa districts. Several rounds of showers are possible in the Sabaragamu province as well in the districts of Kandy and Nurelia. The meteorology reports adds showers or thunder showers may take place in Uva province and also in the districts of Ampara and Hambantota in the late evening hours or at night time.
Well, another effect of bad weather. 183 students engaged in climbing the Hantana mountain in Kandy were stranded due to inclement weather conditions and rescued after a 10-hour operation. The search and rescue operation was jointly conducted by the Kandy police station and also the Sri Lanka Army. All 181 students rescued were students of the Ragama Medical Faculty. In addition, 2 students of the Peradeniya University who had acted as guides were also rescued. The team was reported to have left for Hantana mountain climb around 11 o'clock in the morning yesterday. However, students said they lost track due to heavy fog and rainfall around 5 o'clock in the evening. They were reported to have given a distress call to the police emergency calling unit. Accordingly, a group of army personnel has commenced a search operation for the students around 11 o'clock that night. By around 1 a.m. another army contingent was brought to their assistance. The entire operation was conducted under the direction of the DIG Central Province, Mahinda Disanayaka, and the commander of the 3rd Brigade of Kandy, Brigadier Salia Das. 4 members of the first batch students who were stranded while climbing the Hantana mountain have been brought to the foot of the mountain around 2 a.m. today. Heavy rainfall and the dilapidated state of the Hantana road have made it difficult to bring the students safely to the bottom of the mountain. However, it has been possible to bring to the foot of the mountain all the abandoned climbers by around 4 o'clock this morning. It has also been reported that 5 members of the group who were indisposed were admitted to the hospital.
The Ministry of Ports, Shipping and Civil Aviation says that constructions in Colombo Harbour's biggest terminal, the Eastern Terminal, are being carried out successfully. The project is scheduled to be completed by the middle of next year and operations are expected to be commenced thereafter. With the completion of construction of 1,900-meter-long jetty in the terminal, it would become possible to anchor 3 mega ships all at once. 12 gantry cranes and 40 transfer lifts will be installed at the Eastern Terminal for the purpose of unloading containers from the ships. The extent of the container yards is 75 hectares. Plans are underway to operate 3 million containers annually. The Eastern Terminal will be operated as a semi-automated structure using digital technology. The total cost of development is estimated to be around $585 million. The financial allocations are being provided the Sri Lanka Ports Authority. The contractor in charge of constructions is the China Engineering and the Access Engineering Company. A group including Minister Nimal Sripala De Silva was engaged in an inspection tour of the premises. The meeting between Prime Minister Dinesh Gunawardena and Egyptian Ambassador Magot Mashley has taken place at the Temple Trees recently.
And we have more news on that, as the meeting had discussed on the re-entry of the Egyptian tea to the market, and also on how higher prominence was given to develop the tea market in other African countries as well. It has also been reiterated about the importance of high technological products for the Sri Lanka's knowledge-based economy rather than on industries such as garments, which are primarily based on labor. The ambassador has pointed out that Egypt has already given priority to Arab Sri Lanka Business Forum in order to enhance business relations between Sri Lanka and Arab states. The envoy has also focused attention on rebranding the name Sri Lanka as a comfortable tourist destination by pointing out Sri Lanka's tourist opportunities. A group including parliamentarian Yadamini Gunawardena was also present at this occasion. Another meeting between Prime Minister and the Ambassador of the European Union, Carmen Moreno, has taken place recently. The Prime Minister has recalled with gratitude the assistance extended by the European Union during Sri Lanka's most difficult period. He also thanked the EU for granting the GSP Plus facilities for export. The Ambassador in response has stated that assistance will be provided to enhance development in the Sri Lankan education sector by enhancing relations with universities in the European Union. The envoy, commenting on the opportunities available in the tourism sector, has stated that the EU commits itself to extend support to Sri Lanka at all times.
With 2 more enchanting tusk elephants living in local forests were killed and their carcasses were found from Taboa in Puntland. The 2 elephants were killed after being caught in an unauthorized electric cable. The wildlife photographers have identified the 2 victims as Walagamba and Vasala. Walagamba was used to roaming in Taboa, which is located in the border of the Wilpattu Wildlife Park. This elephant was said to have owned most beautiful pair of tusks. The other elephant, Vasala, was reported to be loitering in the areas of Mahakumbu Kadewala and Anamadua, but had returned to Taboa at certain times in the air. Meanwhile, the remains of another wild elephant of the age of around 30 was found in the Suryapura Chunnakaddu Protectorate. The wildlife officials say that elephant was reported to have been killed after being dangled in an electric wire set as trapped by hunters.
The monthly income of the Department of Excise was reported to have been increased by 1 billion rupees. That's with the commencement of an investigation regarding pasting faked stickers on liquor bottles. Well, this was disclosed upon convening in Parliament recently of a National Economic and Fiscal Planning Monitoring Committee. Well, the meeting was presided over by Chairman of the committee, Parliamentarian Mahindananda Aludgamage. Officials of the Department of Excise, Inland Revenue and the Sri Lanka Customs have been convened before the committee to discuss on the issues mentioned in the report handed over to the President. The committee had inquired the opinion regarding the revision of the Excise Act. The committee has pointed out on this occasion the need to maintain the increased incomes of the Excise Department. They have also stated that continuously carrying forward of random raids would help to further minimize the incidence of pasting false stickers on liquor bottles. Inquiries have been made from the Department of Inland Revenue or the current status of the RAMIS system. The officials who were present have responded saying that this data network would be turned into an active status from next January by overcoming its shortcomings. The Department of Inland Revenue has further stated that the current number of files numbering 700,000 is expected to be increased to 1 million. Well, a special discussion was held yesterday to seek specialist opinion for the advancement of the health service of the country.
The meeting was conducted between the representatives of the Sri Lanka Medical Association and the Secretary of the Health Consultant Physician, Palith Mahipala. At the meeting held at the Ministry of Health, more attention has been focused on the controlling of infectious and non-infectious diseases, nutrition of mothers and children, and primary health and public health. The SLMA intellectuals have pointed out on this occasion that Sri Lanka's health service is similar to the health services being implemented in developed countries. The health indexes are being maintained at higher standards. The association representatives have added that they are taking measures to draft a series of proposals for future development of the health service based on their knowledge and experiences. Meanwhile, Health Secretary Consultant Physician Paritha Mahipala has taken measures today to appoint an Acting Deputy Director General and a Director for the Medical Supplies Division. The new Acting Deputy Director General of the Medical Supplies Division is the current Deputy Director General of the Ministry of Health Consultants, Physician Sudat Dharmaratna. The Acting Director of the Division of Consultants, Physician Dedunu Dias.
We're now moving on to more local news items in brief. The acting IGP Deshabandhu Tendukon has worshipped the Ruanmali Mahasaya and the Jayashri Mahabodhi yesterday. Sri Lanka's second natural gas power station is scheduled to be set up in Muthurajawala. The Sri Lanka Land Development Corporation has extended over a 10-acre block of land in Muthurajawala for this purpose. Chairman of the corporation, Rear Admiral Hiran Balasurya, and the Chairman of the Ceylon Electricity Board, Nalinda Ilangakon, have signed the agreement in this connection. The Sri Lanka Higher Technology Studies Institute in Mapakanda, Nawalapitiya, has vested with the students yesterday. Minister Susil Premchand has presided over this event. The Minister of Education has spent 600 million rupees for the project, which commenced in 2017. Well, the final rites of the late chief incumbent of the Situlpauwa Raj Maha vihara, the Venerable Matarama Hemaratana Thera, will be held at the Yatakala Raja Maha vihara premises with full state honours next Tuesday. The remains of the Nayaka Thera were brought in procession to the Yatagala Vihara in Gaul today. The Venerable Thera, who had passed away at the age of 83 years, was the chief incumbent for 8 viharas, including the Situlpauwa and Yatagala viharas. He also held the chief Sanganayaka position of the Dakshina Lanka in the Kulawathu Vihara chapter as well. Ministers Dr. Bandula Gunawardena and Dr. Ramesh Patirana paid their last respects to the remains, and then when they were brought to the historic Situlpauwa Raj Maha vihara, former President Mahinda Rajapaksa also arrived at the location. Well, that's news at home. Time to take a short break. We'll be back with international stories shortly. Welcome back to the news, and well, the dire situation in Gaza still continues. Director General of the Government Media Office in Gaza tells Al Jazeera that more than 700 Palestinians have been killed in Gaza during the last 24 hours.
Hamas says captive prisoner swap talks will not resume until Israeli onslaught in Gaza ends. Israel pulled back its negotiations from Qatar on Saturday, saying Hamas violated terms of truce agreement. At least 15,500 Palestinians have been killed in Gaza since October 7th. In Israel, the official death toll stands at about 1,200. The Israeli military is shifting the focus of its offensive to southern Gaza on a third day of renewed fighting. The military says it is targeting Hamas command centers, weapon storage and naval forces after its ceasefire with Hamas fell apart on Friday. The U.S. Defense Secretary reiterates Israel's right to defend itself, but stresses it has a moral responsibility to protect civilians. U.S. Vice President Kamala Harris says too many Palestinians have already been killed with a devastating amount of human suffering. An advisor to Israel Prime Minister tells the BBC that Israel is making maximum effort to avoid killing civilians. Residents of Khan Yunis yesterday said the southern city has experienced its heaviest bombardment since the start of the war. The Hamas attack on Israel on the 7th October killed 1,200 people, with around 240 others taken hostage. Since then, Gaza's Hamas-run Health Ministry says more than 15,500 people have been killed in Israel's retaliatory campaign, including about 6,000 children. On sports news, the police team beat the Navy team in an inter-club league rugby tournament match played at the police grounds yesterday.
Very interesting indeed. Police sharing their sporting skills since the beginning of the game and accumulated 31 points in the first half of the play. The Navy players were able to score only 8 points. At the end of the first half, the police have increased their tally by securing 10 more points. In the second half, the rival Navy team also scored 14 points in the latter half of the final score, and it was 41-22 in favor of the police team. The victorious team collected their points through 4 goals, 2 tries and a penalty.
Another match of the tournament was played between the CRFC team and the Army team at the Panagoda Army grounds. The CR players leading 36-3 at the end of the first half. The CR team has added for the 19 points in the second half. The Army team was able to score only 5 points in the second half. Accordingly, the CRFC team has recorded an easy 55-8 victory against their opponents.
And moving on to volleyball, the Gamba district matches of the Rupavahini Challenge Trophy volleyball tournament was conducted at the Henegama Central College grounds. Sangamita College, Kirdiwala and Henegama Central College were qualified for the women's final. Kirdiwala players won the trophy.
That's all the news we have for tonight. Join us tomorrow at the same time for the very latest on Channel Eye. I'm Anjali, together with Clifford, signing off.